All right, so I wanted to take a quick minute to share some thoughts because we currently are experiencing some very interesting chain of events. And so, in my personal opinion, we are in the midst of the great monetary reset that a lot of people have been predicting and talking about forever. And it has everything to do with the whole fourth turning. People who are not familiar with that, Neil Howe, a famous author who put together throughout history just a sequence of events that took place and happened in seasons. And the fourth season happened to be the unwinding of the destruction phase of things in the economy, geopolitically, politically, you name it. It's a very dangerous time to be in. But anyway, so here we are now, 2024, a couple hours away from what is expected to be a Federal Reserve cut, first one in about 4 years, given the whole crisis we experienced from the health situation. But nevertheless, we're here. And within the last 4 years, there has been some unprecedented monetary experimentation that has happened in every single country on this planet here. And now we're about to find out how all this unwinds as what appears to be the biggest, most important central bank, the Federal Reserve, is meeting right now, and they'll perhaps make an announcement tomorrow. But the whole point of this video here is to simply share with you some thoughts, to build up, and walk you guys through some things I think are very important and worth paying attention to. And it has everything to do with how to protect, preserve, and to buffer yourself from the impending financial situations that the world is going to experience. I don't want you guys to fall into that trap. And so I try to plug in and learn, listen, and keep my eyes and ears open so I can follow trends to hopefully better steer me in the direction of safety. It's not hard to see that something's coming and it's not going to be pretty. The financial system is on edge right now, teetering like it's ready to fall over. And the real concern is that it might not even happen during a scheduled FOMC meeting. So one day you might wake up and find the Fed slash rates to zero overnight, not because of careful planning, but because they had no choice. See, this kind of move would literally shake the markets to the core, with stocks behaving erratically and precious metals like gold and silver skyrocketing to numbers we ain't seen before. Was not the typical cycle we're used to. So this would signal something even bigger. And so if you've been paying attention and watching the markets, you've noticed how gold is creeping toward new record highs. Weekly, it seems, which makes absolutely no sense according to traditional logic. So after the inflationary rush of 2020 and 2021, one would expect assets to shift out of safe haven like gold and to back into riskier assets, but that's not been the case. So gold is defying standard playbook, reaching new heights when, by all exceptions, it should be calming down. And so why? Because the Federal Reserve note is dying. And it's happening slowly but surely right in front of our eyes. So we've been through something like this before, nothing new. So look at 2011, the gold bull market that topped out, followed by a 4-year bear market. Money flowed back into risk assets and gold suffered. But this time around it's different. The situation feels a lot different. So the price correction of 2022 weren't nearly bad as what it was in 2015. Sure, gold hit a low, but it never truly bottomed out. And now it's climbing higher despite money still flowing into the system. So what's even more interesting is that the situation with gold short contracts. So right now, bullion banks are selling record numbers of short contracts, which is a risky move, things going sideways. So normally these bank hedges, by holding equal long positions elsewhere, like in London, but given how much they are shorting, one has to wonder, does the physical gold they're supposed to be backing those contracts with even exist? And if it doesn't, that's when we're talking about gold short squeeze, a moment when the market would literally force these banks to buy back their short position, driving the price of gold even higher. So this isn't about a wild theory, it's a legitimate concern. A rising gold price with falling open interest rates would indicate there's a squeeze incoming. And silver is also making waves, just haven't crossed $30 mark, a pivotal point. So silver short squeeze could happen faster than most people actually expect, especially since open interest in silver futures has dropped significantly. So with fewer contracts in play and prices holding steady, we're primed for a potential silver run as well. So when it kicks off, the jump from 30, say, to 50 could be rapid. And that's not speculation. It's a calculation based on market behavior. And so now throw in the reverse repo market, which is a ticking time bomb in its own right. This financial mechanism, which allows banks to exchange treasuries for overnight cash, is drying up. So by the end of October, the reverse repo market could drain down to even to zero. And when that happens, banks will have no choice but to tap into their reserves. So the problem is those reserves are already stretched thin with trillions tied up in overnight borrowing. So once the reverse repo market dries up, we could see overnight interest rates spike, causing chaos in the banking system like we did in 2019. So when the reverse similar market crash, it's not hard to see the parallels here. And so the Fed, they have no choice but to slash rates to zero in a panic. Likely in the dead of the night when everybody's asleep without any formal announcement, they'll do something like this as an emergency matter. So what does all this mean for us? It's exactly why people need to start thinking about moving some of their assets outside of traditional financial system. And of course, gold and silver are the hedge that protects the world, and they're a real store of value, especially when systems begin to fail. So when banks falter, the dollar, Federal Reserve note continues to lose its purchasing power, those who have taken steps to secure their wealth in tangible assets will weather the storm a lot easier than those who have no clue. So we're not talking about an end of the world scenario, but rather just a transition or a monetary reboot, as I call it. And it's going to be painful, but society will adapt eventually. This is what we are up against right now. And so I wanted to take a minute, share with you just some different angles as to how to process this, because clearly we are in a reset. Just look at the response by all the central banks around the world. And at the center of this is gold. And so as we witness central banks race to secure as much gold, they know that they have a limited amount of time to secure as much as they can so that during the reboot, they will have something to start from and build on top of again. And so as of right now, 99.99% of people who watch this video have no clue as to what's going on behind the scenes. So I just gave you a list of scenarios of things that more than likely will play out. And at the heart of that is sound money that the people should actually have in their possession. Anything outside of that, the risk continues to grow. You're exposed to all types of counterparty risks, and the risk falls on you. And so think about this. If you can't insure something, that is where the most risk lies. And so you can't insure your retirement portfolio. You can't insure your pension, your 401k, 403b, annuities. You can't insure none of that stuff. So between you and the promises of the future lies companies, stock market, bond market, government, monetary policy, financial policy. That's a lot of risk in between. And so those who have exposure in that department, that's the gamble that you fall victim to if things go haywire. But for the other people who have a little bit of tangible wealth in their possession, real hard world assets, those are the ones that will have a little bit of liquidity when things unravel, putting you in a better position than the other 99.99% that don't know what I'm talking about now. So anyway, I want to take a minute, share some thoughts. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. If you found value, hit the thumbs up. Take a minute, leave a comment. Let me know that you're understanding what I'm saying here. And then also take a minute and to share this so people can find out what's really going on, because you won't hear this on Fox, CNBC, MSNBC, none of that. You got to go to alternative media world. You got to go to people who actually study this stuff. And that's what I do. Try to make it simple so you can stay one step ahead, hopefully. But anyway, if you guys are interested, as always, I want to make sure I remind you of the opportunity to get involved in the silver space, to take on the opportunity of becoming your own silver dealer, where you have a store, you have a savings plan, and you have a system that's designed to support you to help other people. And that is through the mysilverteam.com, where I am actually working with individuals to help them protect and preserve and to prosper in these days that we're living in. So if you're interested, links in the description, as well as those that like to speculate in the crypto space. There's a link in the description as well, where you can also get involved in some crypto plays, and I'll eventually be coming out with more information on that as well. But anyway, just want to take a minute, share my thoughts. Curious to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment. Catch you guys later. Peace.